Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Divine Revelation number 2. Again, I'm thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking about, like comics collection and manga collection, and I'm saying right now, comics have become basically oversized baseball cards. Like if you take this, for example, yeah, it's still a comic, it's still a story. It's a great story in there, actually, but in that slab, it's a collectible, and that's really how the whole comics industry has gone. Manga has not yet at least. So let's get into a couple things here. First of all, if you think that $5.3 million was a crazy amount of money for Superman #1 published in 1938, how about $12.6 million for a baseball card from 1952? That one sold in August of last year. All right. How about BGS 9, which is a mint, 2003 to 2004 Upper Deck exquisite jersey patch parallel autograph card of LeBron James for $5.2 million in April of 2021. Okay, in my last video I said that manga was cheap because I was comparing it to comics. Comparing comics to sports cards, comics are cheap. So how did this happen? How does a sports card go from a kid's pastime to a legendary collectible worth millions of dollars? Okay, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm sure every collector had their own unique reason for paying what they do, but I am familiar with the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Within a few standard deviations, it applies to collectibles as well. So I did a little table here. I've ranked it into tiers, and if you've watched my videos, you've seen me do this with comics as well, but we have like the value of the individual, let's say, sports card. If I was going to resell it, or a dealer was going to resell it, 80% of them are basically not worth it. They're like 50 cents or less. 99.5% are going to be less, worth, let's say, $2.50 or less. It's only when you get into that 0.4%, you get into the $10 cards. Now this is rare, right? 0.04%. That's 4 of every, 1,000? So as you run down, you get, like, I've just assigned different values here. So 10, 50, 250, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 5 million or more. That's like tier 10. In that tier 10, basically it means that one out of every 20 million collectible sports cards in existence would be worth $5 million or more. Now, again, I've oversimplified it, and there's inflation, and then there condition is a major factor. There's also market conditions at that particular time. Yeah, it's a very complex field, but I can say that comics are in a collector's market, but manga isn't. Well, not yet, at least. So why isn't there a manga worth $5 million? Well, as I said, the predominant reason is because manga is not in a collector's market. But it's my opinion that it's only a matter of time before it does enter into a collector's market. And I've drawn out kind of a normal progression. And let's use something like Magic the Gathering, for example. So first you had like the initial release of the product. Secondly, you had market acceptance. It's a hit. People buy it. Third, people start to collect it. Fourth is all of a sudden you have a community of collectors and events. So in Magic's case, it was tournaments. Then you have like kind of published price guides. I believe, I can't remember the name of the magazine, but you also have now various websites about it. Then you get into speculation, and with speculation becomes kind of that value hierarchies. Although it's not until you enter into the professional grade and encapsulation that those hierarchies really take off. So in case you didn't know, you can send out magic cards they get encased in plastic and with a grade, and the highest grade is a 10, and that's not easy to come by. So not only do you have like valuable cards like a Black Lotus, for example, you may have a 10.0 Black Lotus, which is ridiculously expensive. So anyway, right now I would say that manga's basically at about stage 4, where you have like, cons, conventions, of course, things like that, right? There's an established community, lots of YouTube channels about it. I have to say, I do believe manga will enter into a collector's market at some point down the road. I know you're thinking, okay, but manga are books. And because they're books, it would be impossible to encapsulate them. But I will say that there are 2 common sizes of manga. And let me grab them here. So basically you have the Japanese B6, which is this one. As you can see, these are 2 very different series, but they're about the same size. You do have a Tokyo Pop trim, which is actually pretty darn close, right? So that's basically your B6. The other size is the ISO, the A5. So that's like a 3-fold printing. That's what this one is here. And as you can see, now I'm not saying these are the only 2 sizes, but they're basically the most common sizes, right? So you have like the B6 in front, your A5 in behind. So because you have 2 common sizes, that doesn't mean encapsulation is out of the question. Yes, there's different thicknesses, but I mean, you could get around that. So technically, yes, you could encase those in plastic, have a grade, have all the information. Here's something else though that a lot of people might not be aware of. If I showed you this, my copy of Doubt that I bought, do you know which printing it is? Do you know how you could tell which printing it is? Well, you basically have to go to the copyright page near the end. And in this case, it's actually the back cover. And I will show you, I'll bring up a picture of that, show you it's the 15th printing. So basically you just count backwards to the lowest number, and you can see what printing it is. Comics used to be like that. Down in the indicia, they had, it would say second printing, but as they sort of entered into the realm of the collectible, they made it much more obvious. So nowadays they generally change the background color of the comic or use different art to indicate like a second or a third printing. And you have to remember, like if you go in certain sites and it says out of stock, coming soon, basically that means it's going to another printing. It's only when the book is out of print and there is no new printing coming, then you go to that secondary market like eBay, for example. That's when prices really start to jump. Publishers will normally keep a book in print as long as it's doing, it's worth their while, it's selling. But you had something like Made in Abyss, which was kind of, well, first of all, it's 7 Seas, which is a smaller publishing. Secondly, it took a long time to catch, right? So it was not until the anime came, and then it was a really slow build, and before it hit like that mass market acceptance. And now it's been out of stock and out of print, and it's getting really hard to grab on the secondary market. One last thing before I go. I want to get this video out of my brain. It's killing me. In comics, basically it's about the first appearance, right? So it's not like this is the first appearance of Nightwing. Richard Grayson's been around forever, but this was his first appearance as Nightwing. Not only is it that, so it's first appearance, but the grade really matters. Like this is a 9.4, a near mint. If that were a 9.8, it would be worth a heck of a lot more money. It's weird though, in manga, first appearances don't seem to matter. In fact, since they're usually the first volume is the one that's overprinted, it can be the least valuable of the run. So it's a very obtainable goal for manga readers to get the whole series, right? So, for example, like I bought Kentaro Sato's Magical Girl Apocalypse Volume 1, and it was a first print even, from Amazon over Christmas for cover price. It's still available at cover price. So for Magical Girl Apocalypse, there are 16 volumes in total for that series. It's out of print, but it's not out of stock, which means it should be easy enough to collect, right? Wrong. I'd be paying through the nose for volume 4. That's the hard one to find, the one with the low print run. It doesn't have any like significant new characters, it's just was simply had a lower print run. And boy, do the prices reflect that. It's the same reason why Maiden Abyss Volume 7 is crazy expensive, while 5 and 6 are still cover price. They're all currently out of print, but 7 is out of stock, and the only place to get it now is on the secondary market. I was personally curious if Volumes 5 and 6 will experience a price bump once they're out of stock as well, so I purchased them from Amazon at cover price. Let's see how that turns out. So here are my conclusions. Manga collecting isn't about a single issue, it's about completing the run. 2. Manga does not have a professional grading service. 3. Manga are still books. Comics have become collectibles. And 4. Original printings are worth more than later collected volumes. Just in case you're thinking about getting into this whole manga collecting thing, always go for like these individual publications, like the original ones, as opposed to later collections. But you can already tell that certain manga is starting to rise in price on the secondary market, and comics used to be the same way. It wasn't until they started being entombed in plastic, like when CGC came around, that they really started to hit the stratosphere. So if CGC ever announces that they're going to start slabbing manga, back up your truck and start buying those hard to find expensive issues, especially in really good condition. Because if you think they're expensive now, wait until they get encased in plastic. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. This is later videos. I will get into more specific manga. I just wanted to do sort of an overview of the industry. And again, thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.